Hello everyone, thank you very much for being a part of this event, and it's unfortunate that I'm not able to be right there in your midst at this moment, but I'm very optimistic that by the end of this conversation and by the end of this event, we're going to have something tangible to be going with. I want to extend my humble gratitude to the organizers of this event, in the name of the leader Carlo Prince, and he's a very good friend, a protege of mine, and I'm so excited for the work he's doing in Absu. You might want to give me a round of applause at this moment. So, going forward, I also want to extend my humble gratitude and recognition to the rest of the speakers that have spoken. However, whenever this message is coming to you, I might be the first or the last, but I want to say that I've seen your beautiful works, starting from the man Maxwell and my Oga Jubilee Eze and Mr. Godson, and thank God. He has been an amazing friend back in days when we were students, and it's amazing to be in your screen once more. And the beautiful thing about this event is that it's going to bring the creative in Absu together. It's the best of its kind, the first and the best of its kind, as a matter of fact. And I wish every single human being that is sitting here, every one of you, is going to see beyond the event, is going to see beyond the glitz and the glams, how things is turning out already, to see the effort, the hard work that it took the organizers to put this together, which is more important than the entire scenery you are having right now. So I want each and every one of us, be you a graphic designer, photographer, content writer, content creator, whatever sphere you've been able to see or locate yourself in, this is an opportunity for us to shake the ground, do something big in Absu before most of us graduate, because obviously I'm not going to be there forever, but we'll have something that people that are coming after you will be happy to have. Thank you very much, Mr. Prince, for conceiving this vision, and for also implementing it, because that is where the issue lies majorly. And today I'm going to be speaking to you about managing your time as a student and also as a creative. Managing your time as a student as well as a creative. So I'm going to be expanding on a lot of things, and I'm very sure by the end of this conversation you have your questions answered on how you should be able to manage your time, and a whole lot of that. First of all, I'll say that being a student is a process. You become, by the end of the day, what you planned to begin or become even before you enter that 4 walls. So what it means is that 4 years before you came here, or 2 years before you came here, or a year before you came here, you didn't know what you now know. So it's a process. So by the end of it, you want to be a doctor, but you were not a doctor before you came. But after these processes, after being stretched, in your full capacity, after the series of assignments, series of conversations, series of lectures, you are beginning to understand that area you want to begin. And I will say at this juncture that we are all students of life, and once you understand that, you're actually going to see every other thing as the same process you are passing through today, because this is exactly what it is. It doesn't get simpler than this. Even if you get you get done with school and want to go into NYC, you become a copper after a particular process of orientation. You become a copper, you serve for about 1 year, and we now see you like you have a level of experience to play in a particular space, based on what you studied. And something that inspired me a whole lot long before now, when I was in school. I studied here, most of you know. I might share a few stories about my experience and how I was able to get through Abia State University, both as a creative and as a student. So what you need to also learn, another thing that inspired me a whole lot when I was a student, was having to understand that I'm actually in school to study. All right, and when I'm done studying, I'm studying to understand how to read and how to write. So basically, after studying, I practically should know how to read and write. So the real reading and writing is actually when I'm done studying after school. All right, and I'll tell you that I've read more and I've written more things more than when I was a student, things that pertain to my department or my area of field, and things that I don't even know how it all concerns me. But that is where it has to come with you playing at a level or at a stage globally, being relevant in one field or a multiple of them. And that is where you want to be. Now, don't allow anyone deceive you, like I earlier said. There are some levels, there are some places you can't get to, there are some conversations you are not even allowed to have. I said, earlier, someone was employed in our office. He was about to be employed, he wasn't employed yet. But the issue here is that he was not educated. Now, what was the criteria for him being educated? He didn't have a school certificate. He didn't have an academic certificate from university as somebody that is qualified to be in the skill or be in that position. He was skilled, he knew his onions, he knew what he was doing, but he lacked the necessary requirements to be in that particular position. One of the best designers we have in town. It was unfortunate, that this happened to him, creative in Nigeria. So you don't have to drop out, no matter how sweet your passion is getting. Everything definitely is in stages. So being an Absu student, I had church to deal with, I had school to deal with, very tasking academy. I did a professional course, and a whole couple of people that also performed or did professional courses like me, were also in that situation where they had to juggle school, juggle their personal life, and also juggle the fact that they are also creatives. They have things they want to achieve. They have what they want to be or who they want to be. And that makes it really, really interesting because you have all these things to juggle. Now, which being in this event, being here at this moment, is part of the idea of trying to help you put all those together. Being in an event, where this was thought, where I actually have to learn to understand how to perform at my peak. All right, because everyone has skill. You have more people that can do what you can do. You have a lot of them that can do what you can do. But now you're a student, you have even more to do, but you need to perform at your peak at every level. You need to perform at your peak as a student, perform at your peak at as even a fellowship president of if you're the church type, and you have all this to juggle. Peak performance is something you don't have to joke with. You even we apply peak performance even more for athletes. It's a situation, it's a place where you have to go beyond your skill. You have to take it a step further to understand that your mind controls what happens around you. What is inside you controls what is outside you. And because of this conversation, I'm going to explain to you, I'm going to show you how you're able to focus your mind, how you're able to perform at your peak, at your skill as a creative and also as a student. Very, very important. Number one thing we need to know before we dive into understanding the entire peak performance thing. A peak performance is where you have to deal with your mind, use your mind to improve your self-confidence or the confidence you have in what you do. Because it has a lot of things in controlling your emotions, controlling your thoughts, and also giving back to your output. Now, in peak performance, we have about 4 things we're going to be talking about that is going to impact heavily on the kind of person, the kind of results you're going to be producing, both as a student and as a creative. Number one of them is focus. Now, if you're a photographer here, you bear me witness that focus is one attribute, one beautiful thing that makes portrait pictures beautiful. One tool or a setting of a camera, you are using a focus lens or a prime lens. Once you turn the focus knob, you are able to focus on a particular object to create, first of all, a very beautiful bouquet, and secondly, a sharp image. Now, A picture that is focused, right, is beautiful because the background is blurred. All right, you see cameras, gadgets of today, we go for portrait mode because of the blurred background, the beauty of the blurred background. Focus is one powerful thing that is going to help you drive yourself to become a peak performer. It provides you with the power to put yourself in what you do. If you're a student, if you are in class, be in class. If you are in the cafeteria, be in caf. If you are eating, be eating. You can't be eating and be doing something else, because lack of focus drains your energy. Now, talking about camera or focus lens, it doesn't negate distractions. In the midst of distractions, right, you still get a clearer picture. Why the picture was beautiful in the first place is because there are backgrounds, there were things that are there, but our focus was on an image, and because our focus is on that image, every other thing in the background goes blur. And the beauty of that picture is because there's a blur background and there's a focused picture. The beauty of your life, or becoming the kind of creative or the kind of student you want to be, is that even in the midst of the inabilities or in the incapacities of your environment to provide you everything you need to succeed, and you succeeded, you did everything to succeed anyway, which is directing your focus to what you are here for, it makes life so beautiful. It makes things, the distractions, as though they don't exist. It puts them away. So you must find a way to strike that balance. You must find a way to focus. When you are in class, be in class. When you have assignment to do the assignment. You can't be in class and you're on WhatsApp. You can't be in class and you're on Instagram or in Telegram or Twitter. You can't be in class and you're you are distracted by all these things. Does Twitter exist? Yes. Does Instagram exist? Yes. Will you miss news? No. The news will always come up. Will you miss Instagram Nigeria? No. They will always come up somehow. But be in where you are at the moment. Understand the moment. Be in the moment. Understand there are other forms of distractions that has to do with your family. A lot of us are not so, our parents are not ballers like some other parents, right? And that is more reason you have to invest. You have to be more focused in what you're doing. Well, distractions can come from friends, the kind of people you keep as friends. All right. They might not value their time as much as you do. I had roommates, I had classmates then that, they have other things they do with their time, but I know that my time is so valuable to me because I have church to deal with and I have school to deal with. So each time I have means more to me than it means to them. So we are pursuing different things, but our focus, are different. I have a different focus. If you're in school, be in school. If you're in class, be in class. So in order to put yourself in a place or the best position, you must understand the power of focus and its capacity to place you in a state of flow. Because if you lack that focus, what happens is that your thoughts, your processes, your actions, start becoming, very thwarted in a way. Okay? You are not productive because of lack of focus. Internal distractions also come from, anxiety, fears, uncertainties, things you are not sure of. But the idea is, I'm telling you this day that you don't have to be where you are not. All right? For every stage you are, for every place you are right now as a student in your life, God has made a sufficient provision, or life has provided everything you need to survive at that state. So you need to understand where to channel your energy in, where to focus your energy in to be able to achieve the optimum. Now, how do you begin to focus? Because some of us will say, I try my best to focus, I try my best to do this, but it's not working. First of all, you must understand mindfulness. You must start being aware of where you are, being where you are at the moment. You must learn how to be mindful. And how do you do that? Most of us, number one, wake up in the morning and the first thing we reach out to is our phones. And what are we checking? Somebody that uploaded status in the midnight, the next status, the next gist, the next gossip. All right? While some of those things are good, but they distort the freshness of your flow that first morning. Morning is fresh, and you don't have to destroy that freshness. You don't have to come into your day distracted. You don't have to come into your day confused. A wise man said, before you even start your day, you must have to have finished it. Plan ahead of the day before you begin. So how does this happen? Take some 10 to 5 minutes. If you're a Christian believer, make sure you close your eyes for that 10 to 5 minutes. Channel your energy at the moment, channel your energy on something, on how you want your day to turn out. Channel your energy there. If you're a prayerful person, if you pray a lot, take that 5 to 10 minutes and pray and cool down your mind. You just woke up, right? Reaching out to your phone is not the best thing to do. First, position yourself in a quiet place and choose the best position that is comfortable for you for that period. You must learn how to do this every single day. You must learn how to control, your breath and your emotions within that point in time. You must learn how to be at peace, bring yourself at peace to yourself, and bring your mind into your own body and into your environment, and master your breath. Be more self-conscious, and like that you build focus first. You build focus. And after a while, you start noticing that your mind is always in what you are doing at a time. All right? So you know distractions when you see it 15 kilometers away. The next thing you must do is to be self-aware. Number 2. One is focus. Number 2 is self-aware. Self-awareness. So now, this is a situation where you must have to start looking inwards. Start looking into your capabilities, your abilities. And trust me, understand this. You must have to learn how to write some of these things down. You must write it down. First thing you do to be self-aware is to first of all determine what changes your mood. Determine the things that excite you and write it down. So whenever I see people marching in their groups, I feel so excited, I want to join them. Whenever I see people going to CAF, I feel so excited, I want to join them. Whenever I see people going to class, I feel so excited, I want to join them. Determine things that alter your mood. Whenever I see this, all right, I start feeling a type of way. I start getting angry. Determine those things that alter your mood and write them down. Keep journals. Write them down. Pen them down. Put them down. How else should I put it? And then start determining habits, new things you must have to do or start doing to be able to get those things that trigger you. Most times it's not the anger that is the problem, it's what triggers the anger you need to deal with. Triggers. Determine those things that make you spend a lot of money or spend more money. You deal with them, you quench them. If it is Jumia always sending you things, push notifications, find a way to quench the notifications. You have to put yourself, you have to master yourself, because you really cannot do or you cannot perform at your peak if you don't put your mind in control. So you must now determine your strength. And those strengths are captured in about 5 pillars: your vision, your mission, your vocation, your profession, and your passion. Your passion, those things you love to do, it might be 3, might be 4 things you are really passionate about. But what is your profession? Those things that that people are paying you for. Perhaps you are passionate about it. Perhaps, right? You're passionate about it. But people pay you for. But this might be as well your passion. Like I said, sometimes it might not be your passion, but these are what you are doing for people, but rendering value, but they are paying you for it. Your vocation might just be looking at your passion from a point of business. So this is your passion, but people also pay you for it. Your mission is that selfless purpose in which you exist on the planet Earth. I will not have time to go into all that detail, but you can check it up later. I'm going to give you a concept. You check it up later and learn more about it to plan yourself in better. I discovered this, I think, in 2016. Like, I was almost leaving school when I found out, about the Ikigai, Ikigai. You can check it up and read it. It's a Japanese concept. You must want to read that. It's the time to start questioning yourself. Start understanding patterns. Start understanding how your day goes and how you can structure your time better. I'm not saying all of us have all the same time and all that. No, but in this situation, you must now learn how to understand yourself better. I think there was a time I was having issue with time management and all that. It was my music director in school, Pastor Henry, that taught me how to put all this together. Because right now you are no longer an ordinary person, you're no longer an ordinary student. You have more things to do. You have your passion to work on. And you have to come out at peak. Because when you come out of school, the world is not waiting for you, right, to come and start teaching you. The world is moving. So you spend 4 years in school, and that 4 years, people were doing something, and you want to keep up with them. You can't afford to be sleeping. You can't afford to waste your time. You can't afford to spend time, on things that don't matter. So you must have to be self-aware. So the next thing we have to consider is number 2, trusting in your skill. Trusting in your skill. Trust in your skill. Trust in your skill. When you lack trust in your skill or in what you can do, no matter how little it is, it tightens you up. You can't be a peak performer if you still don't know that the first time you touched camera, you already started. You don't need to be a pro the first time you started. But that first time you touched that equipment, that first time you turned on your Photoshop, that first time you did that thing, you have already started. And you must trust in the capacity for you to take that skill from the basic to the pro level. You must trust in your capacity to do that. You must trust in your capacity to do that. You must. You must. You must. A lot of us are so talented, but the moment you start relaxing, the moment you start feeling that you are not good enough for this, your energy goes down. And other people, start looking at other people that are doing some stuff and say, oh, this person is doing more than me, he has already gone ahead. How am I going to get ahead? How am I going to do that? Who told you that? Who told you that? There are generations, there are levels to these things. You look at the music industry, look at the likes of Two-Face, P-Square. These are people that started, hip-hop back in the days. But look at people like Asake. If Asake looked at Two-Face and said he's not going to do that, the idea of people being ahead is to inspire you to come forward, not to push you back. If you are still threatened by people that are doing better than you, you are not ready to be a creative. You are not. Because somebody doing better means you can do even much better. So it's a confirmation when you see something you can do. It's a confirmation. If you see something that you like or where you want to be, it's a confirmation that it's possible and you can do it. You can even do it better. So your classmate, your friend that started photography is snapping good. That means if that person can do that, you can do twice as better as what that person is doing. So you must trust in your skill and your capacity to deliver at that skill effectively and efficiently. So how do you build this confidence? How do you build this confidence in your skill? First of all, see yourself in that place. See yourself as the best photographer Nigeria has ever had. See yourself, position yourself, see yourself, look at yourself in the mirror. Position yourself in the mirror. If possible, put it down. The kind of influence you want to have. I normally write it on sticky note, the things I want to do. I may not share some of them with you because it may come off as pride or threat. But I've already written it down, 100 years plan, 150 years plan. I told my friend, let's do this, 50 years plan, what I plan to do, the kind of person I want to. And as the more I progress, I discovered that those things that were scary to me becomes less scary. All right, because I'm programming my mind to understand that the impossibility is a thing. But because it's a thing, possibility is also a thing. And possibility is embedded in impossibility. I made a post just a day ago. I said, in the game of men, in the table of men, you don't bring impossibilities there. You don't bring excuses there. Your past don't matter. Where you're coming from don't matter. So you must visualize yourself in the place you want to be strong enough. You must do that strong enough. Visualize yourself. You came from Aba, but that is not your direction. You're not going back to Aba. You came from wherever you come. Maybe you are coming from Lagos, you are coming from wherever. That is not, if you are going back, you're not going back the same way. Even though you must push your mind, you must rehearse it. Then you must do the second thing is self-talk yourself into that. Stop telling yourself that I can't do this photography thing. I'm tired. Don't stop doing that. Don't do that. You are not tired. You are learning. You are being stretched beyond your capacity. You are stretched. All right? And you're a human. You are not. So now, some very important things, that matter to where you are heading to. Very important. Then number 4 thing, which is the final thing, is learning to control your emotions. Learning to control your emotions. To reach the peak of your skill, you must learn how to control your emotions. You must learn how to gain control over your emotions. You must understand that mistakes abound. Your reaction to the mistake is actually more of a problem than the mistake itself. Your reaction to things. Some of you start fighting with the people that are teaching you. Get into fights, campus fights. Get into issues, because if you don't put your emotions in order, you're going to get not just into personal issues with people, you're also going to have issues with the school system, which will affect your graduation. Emotional intelligence, your ability to take it in, digest the situation before you react. And whoever is going to be a peak performer is not a reactive person, is a proactive person. Do everything possible to avoid a situation or situations that can get you in that point, which we mentioned in the first one, which is the power of focus, where you lose focus because bad emotions, bad emotional intelligence can throw you off balance. So you must learn that. You must learn that. There are situations, communication skills you need to pick up, because you get into organizations where things happen differently. The first time I got into a corporate organization, I was shocked. You get query here and there, but this, you are expected to perform at your peak. Like I said, the people that will play on that table, they are not emotional people. People that are going to be at the top. All the celebrities you are seeing, they are performing at their peak. You can't emotionally walk out of the pitch because you're a footballer or someone kicked you or your teammate kicked you. You are not playing again. You want to go. You have a team of photographers, you have a team of designers you are working with. Somebody annoyed you, you say they are not doing again. Or let's talk about situations where you make mistakes even in your skill or the things you are practicing. You just give up like that. You're not doing again. I'm not saying there are not situations where you are prompt or tempted to do that, but this is where accountability comes in. This is where accountability comes in. So, having said this, I would like to, start drawing the curtain here by speaking to you about improving your excellence. Improving your excellence. And now, for some people, think excellence, is what, I don't know, when you design something and it's excellent, or when you do something, some kind of performance. Yes, it's a result of a kind of performance, but excellence breeds success. If you will perform excellently in something, success follows you. Ability to apply set principles, ability to create innovative things, ability to come up, with a particular pattern that succeeds or precedes, what has been there. Or even if it's going to match what is already on ground, but let it be consistent. Excellent is not excellent until it's consistent. All right, I'm going to share this with you. How do you put that? I wrote it on Twitter the other day. I said you must first of all determine the principles, things that form the attitude of excellence, because you can't, succeed even as a student if you are not an excellent human being. You have to determine the things that are important, that makes up the context of excellence. Now, for every organization, for every company, they set goals. And for you to achieve those goals, you have to set them in such a way that it is quite understandable. It's, it's achievable. Some people use the concept of SMART, but I want you to see it this way. If you're able to picture those things, you're able to see where you want to be, even as a student, even as you're trying to combine all these things and mash it up, you're able to picture that thing in your mind. You're able to put yourself there already. If you're able to, like I said before, plan your day before you step into that day, you are building character and values for excellence. That is what is going to push you to excel. First of all, identifying those elements, those concepts. If you are supposed to practice Photoshop 5 minutes every day or 10 minutes every day, do it consistently. Put it down and do it consistently. If I said already that you should wake up 10 minutes earlier before the time you normally wake up, 30 minutes earlier before the time you normally wake up, you are buying time for yourself, for your future. So the constant performing of that task makes you an excellent person. So you must be consistent. So when you find out those things that create that performance, if it is taking yourself out after each class or after each lecture or in the evening, all right, when others are in the call it viewing centers, shouting is a go. You are taking pictures. You are reiterating your skill back to yourself. What you are doing, you are buying time. I'm not saying entertainment, being happy is not fine. Sometimes you have to give yourself a break to do that. But right now, you need all the time you need. You need all the time you can get. You need every time you can get to be able to become a peak performer. Peak performers don't get distracted in the midst of the fight. You are focused people. And I know you are one. Number two, you must have to define those principles as it relates to you. So when you've cast the goal, you've seen where you want to be as a creative, you see the kind of designer you want to be, the kind of photographer you want to be, you bring it down to where you are and tell yourself, what are the metrics? What are the things I'm supposed to do in every single day? How many pictures am I supposed to snap? How many I want to put out on social media every single day? How do I do that? You start conditioning yourself and your time into that frame. And I tell you, you're going to be a different person within a short time. And once you do that, you start implementing them and be mindful to time. How else do you conclude that? Number four, we said that you are going to now create systems and structures to monitor that. Because we are human beings, there are possibilities that tomorrow you wake up and say you're not in again. So what do? You create accountability teams or partners or communities like this that checks everyone, that makes sure you are in check, you are putting your best in, you are doing what you said you are going to do. The moment you say what you are going to do and you go out to achieve it and you actually get it done, your confidence level goes up. Because you can now say more things, do more things and achieve more things. Become an excellent person. Before I wrap this up, I'm going to teach you something about time management, because that is actually one of the keys you need to succeed in this place. Time you cannot produce more time. All right, you can manage, but you can't produce more. And life on its own pay attention to this, because I'm about to say something that will strike you. Life on its own is measured in time, both in frequency and intensity of it. So frequency counts in years. Intensity is how strong were you able to, impact the little time you have in the sand of time. Now, when you talk about money, most of us are so crazy about money that we don't even understand what money is and how money relates to time. Do you know that money is, can buy someone's, you can use money to purchase time, but it is someone's time. You are using the person, or somebody using you basically to achieve more for his own benefit with time or with money. So people wake up and go to work every day because somebody is paying for their time. And I said that life is lived in its frequency and its intensity. So what it means that somebody is paying for someone else's time, the person is living a life which means the supplier of that life is blood. Blood keeps people alive. The Bible said the life of a thing is in the blood, right? So if we look at it like that, people that did mathematics, you can easily equate life to time. And if life is time, time is money. So if I buy your time, I'm able to buy you as a person. I'm able to buy a particular time within this frame of maybe the 50 years you're supposed to live on earth, or sorry, the 100 years that most of you are going to live on earth. So if I wake up every morning, I brush my teeth, I go to school, I'm spending time, and that is a part of my life, and that is my blood going in to achieve that thing I came here to do. So it's not something to joke with. Life is counted in time, and what gave time life value is blood. And what gave money value is time. So basically, any single thing you are using money to do, you are buying someone else's time. So if you go to buy a shoe, you are buying a product that was created with someone else's time and his life. If you are paying school fees, you are paying a system that was built with people, their life and their time, and which is their blood. So you don't have that time to waste on things that don't matter. You don't have it. Quickly, how do you manage your time? Number one, step down to something easier. Don't overburden your day with a lot of things. You say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it, I'm going to reduce it, put it in such a way that it's easy to achieve. And once you do that, you still have more time for some other things. You can use it for whatever reason you have. All right? Number two, if you are making a call, you're trying to make a call, make sure that if you can be making call and be double acting, doing something else with that time you're making call, do that. But make sure your calls are based on agenda. You can't be calling someone, or you can't spend time on call and that is all you do in the quest of being there. So now, don't get me wrong, there are situations where you have that spare time to spare. But if that time is not available at that moment, not when you are in class, you step out to go and make call, or you have something important to do, you step out, you have to put that call in agenda. When you have all the time to now spend, you can now do that in abundance. So make sure you make calls that have agenda. Don't mistake activity to productivity. Being busy doesn't mean that you are yielding fruit or you are doing something reasonable. You can be busy sleeping. You can be busy. Some of you say, oh, if you don't sleep in the night, you are making it in life or something like that. You might be awake in the night and you're watching Netflix. That doesn't mean that you're productive. While some others are awake in the night and taking Coursera courses, or taking courses on Udemy, or improving on their skills, both of you don't have the same activity going on there. One is being productive, one is just being busy. You must take your book serious. You must also take your work serious, because that is the way you achieve take your work very seriously. Then do not allow your communication gadgets, your communication system, come in between your work and your time, or between your studies and your time. Don't allow your communication gadgets, your phones, your tablets, or your computers. When it's time to do that, focus on that and get it done. I remember those days when I was in hostel, while I'm done studying and all that, I have to pick up my laptop and start practicing Photoshop while others are sleeping. All right? As I'm also a very, very, sensitive about things that steal time away from you. All right? So pay attention to those things that steal time away from you. Learn how to think on paper. Have journals. Write things down. It's clearer. It's easier to know that this morning I'm going to go to this lodge and pick a book from there, and I'm not going to spend more than 15 minutes there. Even if I'm going to do so, I'm going to spend more than 15 minutes there. And from there, I'm going to class. From class, I'm coming back here. I take my bath, shower, rest, sleep a little, move again, and make sure you also take a good sleep. Make sure you take a good sleep. Understand that your mind, like I said, is one of the greatest assets you have. Think about the people that are going to be losing. Think about the problems that might come up in the whole world. Think about your family. Think about the future. Think about people that, that might not see the light if you don't manage your time well, and if you don't, implement some of these things we shared in this conference very well. You must be accountable, you must be productive, and you must be creative. You must come out as a shining star. So every of these things are up to you. Your time management skills, your ability to understand how to perform as a peak performer. I think this video will also be online. You can go back and hear it and listen to it again. Prince, you can feel free to share it. Don't miss out on the opportunities that life has presented to you for any of these excuses. You're a student, you can perform at your peak, even as a student. So thank you very much for your time. See you in the next event. Definitely, probably, maybe I'm going to be right there. Thank you very much, Prince, for having me.